Perfect.
What's going on, everybody? It's your observant lineman, Uche Nwaneri, and welcome back for another round of Trench Warfare. Last week, we looked at the Kansas City Chiefs and their dominating performance over the Tennessee Titans to win the AFC title. And this week, we're going over to the Bay Area on the West Coast and checking out another dominating performance by those bruisers for the Niners as they make their third appearance on Trench Warfare and show us once again why they may be the best running team in the league and how they dominated the Packers. Now it's time for the offensive line introductions. At left tackle, Joe Staley. At left guard, Laken Tomlinson. And at the center position, Ben Garland. At right guard, Mike Person. And finally at right tackle, Mike McGlinchey. All right, so we're taking a look at this first play here. This is going to be a motion from the left to the right with the tight end. Looks like a blast boss play, which is the fullback leading downhill on the linebackers. Now, if you look here, we've got three crucial blocks to this. One is the double team on the front side with the guard and the tackle. You've got the center who's responsible for making sure that backside is not able to make any penetration, taking the back off his course. And then you got that front side block by the tight end against the edge defender, the force defender. But let's take a look at it from the end zone cut so we can get a better look at some of the responsibilities on this play. Now let's take a look here at our front side, because what you're going to end up having here is a bear formation. And in a bear formation, you have your interior three linemen covered. So the interior three are covered, which is going to put the center and the left side guard on single blocks alone. And it's going to put the front side right guard and right tackle on a quick double team up to linebacker number 50. Now, with the right tackle and right guard, I think they did an excellent job on this reach block. The right guard was able to push the right tackle up to 50. They did a good job staying on their angle and covering up that linebacker, keeping him from scraping over into his gap. And then I also think the center did an excellent job using a snatch technique where he actually used the momentum of the D lineman against him and snatched him down towards the ground. That gave him full control over the block. And on the backside, your left guard, your left tackle are just having to keep those guys from making any kind of plays on the backside pursue. So this ends up being a pretty clean play for the offensive line. You have a fullback that hits the mash point in the line of scrimmage, and it leaves the running back one-on-one with the safety who's at the bottom of the screen here, the left side, number 26. Now, I actually think that 55 did a good job setting the edge here to kind of keep everything turned in on the defensive side. He did a good job at setting that edge, setting everything down to number 35. 35 actually does spill this block to 50. 50 just isn't able to beat the right tackle over the top, and that's a testament to the good job that the O-line does there and being able to keep him out of his position to make a play on this run. So it ends up, busting loose for an explosive play, which is huge for the 49ers on this one. I also think that there is a lot that's done here to finish on their blocks, which is huge for this offensive line. I think in the last video, I talked a little bit about them doing better at finishing on their blocks, and it looks like they're doing that, carrying that over into this championship game here by sticking on these blocks, pushing these guys past the point that they want to get to, and it just helps out this play even more so in the end. Let's check out this next play here in the red zone. The Niners are up 20-0. And it looks like they've got everything going on all cylinders. They make a check at the line. And one of the things that I really found to be very impressive about how these guys played in the run game in this particular game was how quickly that they were attached to their blocks by the time the running back got to the line of scrimmage. And it just seemed that the Green Bay Packers just were never really in position to make plays. They seemed a little bit undisciplined in how they protected their gaps. And the 49ers exploited that throughout the entire game. A lot of these plays, you're going to see a running back run for 15 or 20 yards before he's even touched, which is amazing. But let's look at the end zone cut. You can see they're making the check here. Garoppolo makes the check, And these guys have 2 defensive linemen in the game in the red zone, which I found to be very odd. But let's look at the center and the right guard right here. They do a very good job on the reach combo. They're blocking up to 35. I don't think necessarily that they get to it, but I don't think that it was even really, it didn't even really come of any consequence, simply because they did a good job at the point of attack on the defensive lineman. I'd like to see the center get his backside arm inside a little bit, get it under the armpit of that DT, so you can kind of lever him out of the hole. But overall, a good job on that front side double team. And on the backside double team with the left guard and the left tackle, I thought it was an excellent job of them blocking up to 50 once again. Very good, very smooth. Joe Staley gets that backside arm into his block, so he's able to actually lever and turn that defensive lineman who's trying to kind of create a pile there, but doesn't get it to work. And the left guard is actually able to get up onto 50, has a great finish, covers him up, and it turns out to be an explosive play that gets him in the end zone. Now let's talk about the design of this defense and how it's supposed to work based on what I can tell as an offensive lineman. The number 35 and number 50 are obviously supposed to be playing the front side of this. These are the guys that are most likely to make the tackle. But by design, on this run play, when all else fails, this safety number 26 is the defender who has the one-on-one matchup with the running back should everybody else get blocked. And everybody else does get blocked here. 35 has to play the force, so he has to play that front side hard. But on the cutback, as you can see, nobody's ready for it. Nobody's ready to make a play on the ball, and that costs them in the end. Now let's take another look. They're back in the red zone again. This is another great run play by the 49ers. Got a 2-back set, motion in the tight end into the formation, and it's just an outside zone run. And you can see here with these arrows, I'm trying to show you where the defenders are responsible for on the second level for Green Bay. The linebackers and the safety are responsible for the force, the spill, and the scrape. And the highlighted player is the most essential block that has to be made by the offensive line. The 3 technique is generally one of the hardest positions to reach for the run game in the NFL. So for an offensive guard, you have to be really quick, really good with your feet, really good with your hands to make that block clean. But let's take a look here at the center and the right guard to start off this play. I really think that they did a good job reacting to movement from 97. 97 actually made this an easier block than it initially was going to be. It allows now for the center to move up quickly to the linebacker on the second level, and it actually caused a pretty big disruption for the entire backside of this play, which does free up 50 to make a run at the running back. But it's also putting the defense in a predicament, because now with everybody else on the positions they need to be on, it really doesn't bode well for having to cover up multiple gaps on the defense. Now, if we look at the left guard here, he's got an excellent reach on the defensive lineman. Perfect head placement here, right in the V of the neck. He has great arm position, and he's got his hands, his backside arm inside the frame of the defensive tackle. You know, this is pretty much textbook on how you want to look when you're reaching that 3 technique. Now, I would say here that at the left tackle position, you do got poor push on the D end. 51 is actually turning Joe Staley's shoulders as he's trying to make this block. And he actually does play the force position pretty well. But if you look here at what's going on with these linebackers, you actually have 2 guys who are playing into the same gap, which is a huge no-no on defense. Each player is responsible for 1 gap. You got 93 and 50 here, both playing into the same area. And then you have 25 who has a decision to make on whether or not he's going to play the force to send it all back inside or try and spill the fullback. He actually ends up trying to spill the fullback, but also 51 tries to spill the fullback. So they're completely discombobulated in their responsibilities here, and the 49ers take full advantage of it and get right into the end zone. Now let's take a look at this last play. We're gonna have a motion, 2 motions actually, that make this an empty backfield formation. It's gonna be a pass play here. Let's take a look at the pocket from the sideline cam. Looks initially like a decent enough pocket, but I think that there's a little bit more that we can get a look at from the end zone cam. You're gonna see that not all is as it seems, and the 49ers actually gave up a pretty decent amount of pressure here. Garoppolo does a good job of just staying in the pocket, making the throw. But let's look at the end zone film and get a better look at what we had going on here with the offensive line. So we're taking a look here at the end zone film, and like I said before, you're gonna have 2 motions here. It's gonna turn into an empty set. You're just gonna get a 4-man rush here from Green Bay. Now let's start off with the tackles here. I thought that Joe Staley was once again late with his hands. That just seems to be a sort of a habit for him. He's late with his hands. He gets bull rushed back just a little bit here. Does take a couple of steps to recover himself and rebalance himself, which again, the guy has an uncanny ability at recovery. Settled his hips, had a good knee bend, got his hands inside, and was able to pretty much nullify that rush on the left side. Now on the right side, I thought there was a good initial set by the right tackle, good position. I just thought he had poor hand punch, poor hand placement, and his knees were not bent well enough to be able to secure his balance. And that's why he got knocked a little bit off of his anchor leg by the defensive end. But he did a good job at fighting to get himself back under control and had some good recovery on this past set, which is good to see. Now, when we're talking about the interior and talking about the depth of the pocket, I really do believe that the depth of the pocket here was compromised. When you look at the interior three here, it's a little bit jumbled, but initially what happened was the right guard had a very poor set. He overset on his defensive tackle, allowed easy access to the inside. That basically took the center off of his help that he was given to the left guard and made him have to try and come and save that block for the right guard, save it for him late. And it didn't work out very well. They did get pushed up the middle on this one. As you can see, Garoppolo had to throw the ball flat-footed, but it didn't end up being a hit. So while there was some pressure there, it wasn't anything that couldn't be cleaned up with a little bit better set by your right guard. He overset it, opened his hips as soon as he tried to react to his overset, but that happens sometimes. It's not gonna always be a perfect set, and I can understand that. So overall, was a decent job on the tackle positions and a poor job by the right guard, which kind of folded the interior of the line. And there you have it, folks. That is the end of the latest trench warfare video. Obviously, the 49ers have a very serious running attack that the Kansas City Chiefs are gonna have to deal with. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the Observant Lineman Uche Nwaneri. Really appreciate everyone who's checked out my trench warfare videos thus far. Looking forward to getting ready for the NFL draft and providing some draft previews on offensive linemen coming here soon. But as for everything else, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.